Welcome back to the West Ham Network for another new show that we're bringing to you with all the West Ham content on, especially match day content, you could say. And, we're changing things up a little bit around the channel. We're trying to be a little bit different, Matt, aren't we? We're trying to be, I don't know what we're trying to be, just add something new to the
It's
equation.
creative, isn't it? It's getting creative juices going, trying something different.
That's it. That's it. So if you haven't already, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do come and check all our content out. Matt is bringing to you a regular show on his own, Stat Attack, where he gives you all the information you need to know about our opposition moving forward, especially when he gets the right team. But that's a little one we'll keep under our wraps moving forward. Previews. You'll have all your matchday content. You'll have reactions of the game. We'll have matchday lives, you name it. So please give us your feedback in relation to all the shows that we're putting out for you as well. But, we also give you an opportunity to name your starting 11 because obviously on the community tab under YouTube, we ask you questions, we ask for the formations and who you think should start the game. And we thought, well, because we're changing things up a little bit, myself and Matt don't really come on much and talk about the starting 11 anymore. So we're going to dedicate a show to it. So it's going to be who we would like to start in our starting 11. Now, Matt, let me just get straight to the point. Obviously, our Premier League game was postponed at the weekend, and understandably, I'm not going to address over that. That's been done. So what we do know is that UEFA have announced that our UEFA Europa League game will go ahead against Silkeborg because we are traveling to their country, and there's not going to be any issues with the armed forces, etc. And then it's been announced that our game is going ahead against Everton because obviously we are playing in Everton in Liverpool. It means that there's not going to be much need for the forces, the police force, etc., to be moving. So therefore, our game is really likely to go ahead. Whereas you're now starting to hear some fixtures, especially in the London area, going to get called off because all the police and all the forces, etc., will be elsewhere preparing for Monday's event. So we do have a game coming up. We've had players rested. The team's been rested. They've not had a game now. And we're preparing for what is going to be a crazy, probably 6 weeks to say a few, really, isn't it? With another little break coming up, but a crazy few weeks.
Well, yeah, we got, I think it's 2 games in a week, and then we've got 2 week gap, haven't we, for the international break. What's the international break? Right. I think so. Then we've got that 6 weeks straight of just like 10 games, 12 games before the World Cup starts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry, I've just put a bit of music in the background there for us as well. So, Matt, I thought I would bring to everyone, particular show where we're going to discuss what we think the starting 11 will be. So we've got Silkeborg. We've come off a fantastic win, albeit it was the second half that really got us through the victory the last time out. We've done all our chats about that. When it comes to this game, we've got a whole host of players that are back ready to go and also haven't had a bit of game time at the weekend. So first and foremost, I suppose the question is going to be, what formation is Moyes going to go with?
I still think it's going to be this. It's sort of a fluid thing, isn't it? Because it's like it could be a 4-2-3-1, it could be a 4-3-3. The players we pick sort of mould the way that Moyes can play either way if he wants. So I think it's going to be that sort of thing. Yeah. So that can be a 4-3-3. It can be a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah. I think I can see that as well, to be honest. I mean, easily you could turn around and say to people, oh, well, we think it's going to be the same starting 11 as it was the last time. But there may be a couple of doubts, and we'll talk about that as we go through it, because some players are coming back. Now, if we are basing this on the fact that we are going to be playing 4 at the back, and obviously we'll have a goalkeeper in our wings, are we even remotely silly to think that it would be a different goalkeeper than normal? I mean,
Areola is the cup goalkeeper currently, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it'd be extremely harsh to not play him in the cup game just because there was no league game at the weekend.
Yeah.
So I think that's his position at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. How do you think? How are you rating him, Matt?
I prefer. I think he comes out more for crosses, and he's got better distribution Now, I say that in the fact that I've noticed it. I've only really noticed it recently. I don't think Fabianski backs himself to be able to distribute the ball as quickly as some people want. Like, there was one particular clearance goal kick / sort of thing in the game last Thursday, and Areola was getting closed down. He put it on his right foot, and he still bent it out and put it to Soufal or at right wing back or right back. You know, whereas in that sort of position, Fabianski would just launch it straight down the middle of the pitch. But I just don't think Fabianski backs himself. Like, you know, he gets the ball quick from a corner, and the wingers or the fullbacks, whatever, would split and be like, right, I'm open, play it. And Fab will look and he'll go to pass it and he'll stop and he'll go past it again. And in the end, he just doesn't play it. And it's like he doesn't back himself. It's almost like he thinks, if I make that and I get it wrong, we're going to get our pocket picked and we're going to come back at us. So I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to risk it. Whereas Areola backs himself. No, I'm going to make that pass and we're going to go and attack. And
no, it's funny though, because I do see that quick transitions coming from Areola. However, if I had to battle in any way whatsoever, what I've noticed a lot from Fabianski this season in particular is his command. He has
come a lot more.
Very commanding, and he's winning everything. And in comparison to Areola, it is more convincing punches. It is more convincing takes. It's so far from what I've saw this season. Now, that's do you know what, Matt? It's a really great situation to be in.
It's almost like last year he was on loan. Fabianski was like, well, he's a lone goalkeeper. It's not going to matter. But now that we've bought him, Fabianski's like, well, this is potentially my last season. I want to get as many games as possible.
Yeah.
And now he's got that real competition. He's had to up. So yeah, like he knows, all right, I can't do distribution, so I'm not going to attempt that. I can't do it. But like you said, what I can do is I can come for crosses. I can come for corners.
Yeah.
And he started doing it more. And you know what? As you said, it's a nice thing to have because they're both playing to their strengths and trying to hide their weaknesses.
Yeah, of course.
That's what you want.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Well, let's move into the back line. I mean, we're going to go with the trusted four at the back. But there's several players that, you know, I'll talk about. Maybe let's go into the central of defence. I think central defence is quite a key element here. Now, I'm going to talk about one player in particular, Kira. I rate him highly, mate. I really do. I really am quite excited about what he brings to the club. I think he's a ball-playing defender. I also won't be surprised, mate, if West Ham tries to switch him out completely to the right, fully on the right, which is what PSG did laterally in his career there. What do you think about that?
For me, at the moment, he's probably the first out of the centre-backs. He's probably the guaranteed name. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think that he has the combined ability of the passing and the pace. You know, it's something we've been lacking overall across the board in centre-backs. Yes, he might be slightly smaller, in which case you put a taller centre-back next to him. But, you know, there's plenty of centre-backs over the years that have been very small. I mean, you know, look at Martinez at Man United, less than 6 foot. So 6'1", I think, here isn't small, but it's his pace, his ability to read the game, and his passing out back is something massive.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, really is.
And it just transforms our game because all of a sudden it's not like there's so many times, especially the back end of last season, you could sit there and watch and it'd be like goalkeeper, centre back, fullback, centre back, and they just pass it between the back four, and then one of them pump it long down the wing, and if we got the ball, we'd attack, and if we didn't, it's like, all right. Whereas Kira can pick it up and he'll just split the centre mids or the centre forwards and play it into the midfield and we're off and attack it. And it's so now critical to the way we're playing. He has to be the first name on the team sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. So based upon the fact that he is probably one of the first names on the team sheet, are we putting him in the team sheet against Silkeborg in the Europa Conference League? Because he has started every game so far. I mean, he deserves to go in there and go central defence on the right-hand side.
Yeah. I've for some reason I put on the left, but no, for what I've got, he should be playing right anyway. Yeah. I
mean, he's a no-brainer. I mean, keep your comments coming in and let me know your thoughts on Kira. I mean, I do think, Matt, though, we will eventually see the transition of him moving into the fullback position solely down to the fact that he can cover both of the elements. And if we do get Aguerd back and Aguerd does push for a starting position and Zuma keeps giving us performances he's been giving us, then what you've got there is a lot of pace and a lot of ability on the ball. Wow. Probably better ability than what we've currently got, if I'm being honest, and that progresses the squad.
That he can play holding it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if Moyes wants to transition to a ball-playing team, Soucek's position could be, dropped out for someone like Kira.
Yeah.
He's just going to sit and let Deck run forward, but can still pass the ball through the midfield and has got pace to cover. It gives him multiple positions to keep himself in that first team. Like you said to Moyes, I can play right back, I can play centre back, I can play in the middle. You can't afford to drop.
Yeah. Right, let's move on to his partner in crime. Dawson is back. Dawson has had a little bit of game time. Ogbona's back. He's having quite a lot of game time. Zuma's obviously having some great appearances as of late. The importance of this game to David Moyes is, we've got 3 points on the board. You want to try and get as much as you can, as early as you can. So what does that mean, though, if you do that?
I think I was talking to my dad about it. I think if you win your 3 home games and you win 1 of the away games, that puts you on 12 points, almost guaranteed to qualify at that point. And then if you could pick up 2 draws or win a loss from the last 2 games, the other 2 away games, then you probably finish top. Yeah. So this is the bankered away game you have to win, because this is probably they are the weakest. They are the weakest team. They're the underdog team. See the stat attack, you'll see what I'm talking about. So this is going to be one we have to win. That being said, I've been liking the look of Oggy. I've got to be honest. Him building himself back up to fitness, I keep playing him. I think at the moment this is the perfect way to get him up to speed, playing him in the European games.
Yeah.
Because like we said, it's coming thick and fast. October and November, we've got like a lot of games. Then we've got the gap, and then after Christmas, it's going to be even more mental. So we're going to need as many fit centre backs as possible. And Bonner's, with that bad injury, he's worked his way up, but he's looked. Apart from when Moyes tried to play him as a left back, don't really know why he tried that. Apart from that,
I don't know if I'm going to massively agree with you on this point, because I feel like maybe people might think I'm here he comes again, the Oggy hater, etc. But I think that I tried to justify why he was out of position a lot in some of the games that he's played, and I think that's also to do with the fact that even before his injury, he was losing a little bit of pace, and he's been out for a long-term injury. So it's going to take a bit of time to get your spatial awareness back again, your footballing ability back again. You can't just come in overnight.
You have to play games to do that.
But you have to play games to do that. And I think that essentially he's not been awful. He's not been crap. He's been nowhere near crap. But in the central of defence, he's not been our best player. And I think sometimes we've been caught out from his angle, from his side, because they've seen the weakness there where the ball can get through or over the top. And then that really puts Kira under a lot of pressure to cover as well. And I think Kira really struggles to have a player who's not as equally as pacey as him. He's fine with Zuma, because Zuma can cover his ground, track his ground a little bit better than what Oggy can. But when you see Kira against Sufal, and Sufal's lost his pace, and I've got to give credit to Sufal for getting forward, but he has lost the pace, you can see Kira coming over to cover for a lot of that. Yeah, as well. But I think, like you said, mate, he needs game time. It's a perfect time for him to come in. He's been giving us some decent performances. He can always a threat from the set pieces, so it's a no-brainer that he goes in to the team. Now we're going with the flat back 4, are we? Yep. Is this what we're doing? Now let's move on to the left-hand side. I mean, a player that's maybe been in for a little bit of stick, actually, from social media is Emerson. Now, what I'll say is he was never bought as a defensively minded left back. He was never ever really he doesn't really have those attributes, if I'm being brutally honest. People have said, if we just bought a better Masuaku. Well, he's very pacey and he's very good at getting forward, but what's your thoughts on Emerson? Is that harsh?
I think he's had some really harsh judgments, because if you watch some of the games, he does track the runners. Like he does, even in the Premier League games. I think even at Chelsea, when the runners were going in behind Zuma, he was the guy that was tracking back behind to cover. I think maybe one thing he does need to work on is his positioning on crosses. Yeah. Defensive. That for me, that was really the 2 mistakes he made in the game against Steaua Bucharest. You had the chance before they scored, when he was like centimetre, got caught underneath the ball, and the guy had the header at the back post and put it straight to the keeper. And then the goal they scored, he was slightly out of position. But when he's faced up on the wing, no defender is going to win every single defensive tackle on when they're squared up. As long as you win your fair share, you've done your job. You know, like you're not going to win, because then if you're unless you're playing someone that's absolutely awful, you're not. You expect to as long as you win your fair share of them, you've done well. So I personally think he's halfway between Masuaku and Creswell. I think if you look, he's basically, he can get back, he can cover, he can read, that Creswell does, but he has got the pace and the ability to go forward like Masuaku did. I think he's halfway in between, because he does have defensive ability. It's just certain things maybe his game is working on. Like I said, for me, I think it's just his positioning on defensive crosses from the far side.
Yeah.
When he's the guy at the back post, he needs, and that's something you can still drill that into him. You can still teach him. You still get him on the pitch with Creswell and just go, where would you be? Let me watch you. Where should I be?
Yeah.
On the whole, I think he's been pretty solid, to be honest. And like, if you look at the goal, I know his goal wasn't great, but Creswell would never be that high up the pitch to score it in the first place. Because of his pace, he wouldn't commit that.
But then some people could question the fact that, are we conceding from that angle? Are we conceding from that flank?
Well, that's
because
what I
he
said,
is pushing further forward. And the problem then you've got is, if you have got someone like Augie who hasn't got the pace anymore, that's where the cover comes across.
That's where in the league you'd say maybe Augie's not starting, and it would be here on that side, Zuma on the other side, because someone could cover him. Or you look at Downs or Rice or Souček sitting back and saying, right, Emerson's gone forward, I need to sit and cover. But it's just it's stuff that could be trained and taught on the training.
Yeah. So for this game then, are we committing to Emerson at left back?
Creswell's sort of back in training, but yeah. There's 2 games and they've got 2 weeks off. So it's 2 games in a couple of days and they've got 2 weeks off. So yeah.
Yep. Cool. Excellent. Let's stick him in there. Right back then. What are we doing there? I mean, there's options now. I mean, right, go on.
For me, this entirely depends on the situation with Ashby. Because I think if they commit him to sign a new contract, Moyes will play it.
Yeah.
But if he's already told them he's got 0 interest in signing a new contract and he wants to leave, I don't think the club will play it.
Yeah.
In which case, I don't think Ben Johnson's back in training and it'll be Sufa.
Yeah.
But if they can convince Ashby, I'd like to give him a go. I think this would be the right time to do it. But it's stuff behind the scenes that no one really knows. So
no, exactly. And I get it. Like, I mean, listen, the biggest canvasser for Ashby's always been Russ. He was very fortunate to see him a lot more than what we all have done. But I think I think it would be nice to see him make the step up, because this could be the progression route, the starting process of another younger player coming through the ranks and really challenging. When in actual fact, do you know what, Matt? There's an opportunity for him to challenge. The thing is, it's not that we've not got an opportunity. It's not like, you know, we're looking at the central midfield and thinking Connor Coventry's going to struggle to get a bit of game time. But you're looking at the right back position. You're thinking, do you know what? Yeah, you've got an opportunity here. Like you could really make that position, solidify your chance of playing Europa conference games. And I've never saw anything I dislike about him. I think he's capable.
No, I think he showed in the earlier round. He's got the ability, and I think he showed in the pre-season games. But I think it might just come down to contract situation.
Yeah,
I think if he's made it apparent he has no interest in re-signing, as petty as it may be, Moyes may turn around and go, well, then why would I develop?
Yeah,
like, why am I going to spend another year developing you if you're going to walk out for free at the end of the season? So I personally hope it's Ashby, but it will honestly depend on that.
Yeah. Well, I think me and you are going to commit to putting Ashby in here. This is our 11. This is not David Moyes' 11. So this is what we're going with so far.
I think.
Well, I think what's really good about this is that between Ashby and Emerson, it offers us shitloads of pace, mate.
Which is what we've been lacking for a while. Is proper pace in the fullback.
And I think Ashby can definitely defend. I don't deny that either.
Oh yeah, he can.
Definitely a defensive minded player, so he can definitely do that as well. But there you go, we've put Ashby in, we've completed our back line. Let's go into the 2 central midfielders, something we West Ham love playing is the 2 central midfielders. Now we've got choices here. We've got Declan Rice that came back, had a great performance, with Flynn Downs that came in, who also had a fucking brilliant performance. Tommy Souček is recovered, he's had the rest, he's recovered, not played midweek. If we had played the game at the weekend, he probably would have been an ability to be chosen. But is Moyes a creature of habit? habit of creature or whatever creature of habit, yeah. And is he going to play the same too? So let's start with, we know there's going to be one regular in there, and the question I'm going to ask you, Matt, is who's the first name in the team sheet? Is it Rice or Souček?
That's right.
Rice. Yeah. So I've been hearing people saying maybe we should give Rice a chance to rest, but do you know what? I don't think Rice wants to rest.
No, I think he's still at that age where he feels he can play every game.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to play every single game. He's got the ability. He's young enough. His body recovers quick enough. I want to play every game. I think that's the position, the mentality he's in. I think he'll be annoyed if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
Especially when he missed the qualifying games.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's really important for him to be heavily involved in there, isn't he? And
with England coming up, he wants to make sure he's fit, sharp, match fitness going.
Yeah.
He wants to play every game.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. I completely agree with you. Now, let's get on to his partner in crime. Listen, Flynn Downs, he had a phenomenal performance. He really did. I'm talking like ridiculously phenomenal performance. And in actual fact, for me, Matt, because we haven't had a game at the weekend, this is an opportunity now to see the player twice in quick succession, and game after game. So that is what interests me, because then if he was to have a good game, say, and play against Silkeborg, then he really does throw his name into the hat. He really does. I know people could say, well, you could question the opposition, but, well, hold on a second. Like, what do you do in that situation? So what's your thoughts, Matt?
The bloke I was sitting next to, I always sit next to the guy I always sit next to him, same bloke, that is 6 years, gave me the funniest look when after like half an hour of the game, I was like, how is he not starting in front of Souček? I was like, how? I was like, I get, apart from the fact he's not 6'4", like, how's he not starting? I said, I don't care that most of his passes are simple passes. He's intelligent enough to pass. People make the joke about Rice that most of his passes are sideways, but Downs has got the ability to pass and move. He may make a simple pass, but then he'll move into the position in between the players to pick up the pass and go again. He can pass it forwards, but he's also got phenomenal backtracking and covering the midfield and the defence. And it's his energy and his passing ability, his passing percentage. I would not care. Generally, if say you have a midfield three, and whether it's whichever one of the six that can play in the middle, or if it's Rice and Downs and that person, it would not bother me in the slightest if Downs' only job was to pick up that ball, turn, and just play a simple ball into the number 10, let them go and attack. And if he'd done that all game and he had like 16 ball recoveries and 100% passing, but it was only simple passes, I wouldn't care, because at the moment Souček can't pass it 6 yards. The amount of times our game breaks down because Souček can't make a simple pass. You have to do small building blocks and you build up higher. Downs has shown with a few of his passes that he has got the ability to play better.
Yeah.
But at the moment, Souček can't make the simple passes. So if Downs is doing that, I said to the guy after half an hour, he should be playing in front of him. And he's like, oh, Souček. Yeah, he covers 15 kilometres a game.
Yeah. If you haven't actually watched the analysis show I did the other night on the game, I spoke a lot about people underestimating and underplaying a player who does the extreme. People underestimate a player that plays the ball back and plays the ball sideways. But I knew that Downs would get that criticism. But in actual fact, when you watch his game back, he's nothing of the sort. He does make a lot of forward passes, and he does make a lot of forward runs, and he's extremely clever at finding the play. He's very good at
shielding
the ball,
passing and moving.
Yeah, 100% all the time. And there were elements, no ifs and buts about it, there were elements of Mark Noble-ish type of central midfielder, with more of an engine, obviously, a younger version, finding the passes, driving forward. And in actual fact, I actually spoke to Russ the day after, and Russ went, people are just going to label him as the sideway passer. But hold on a minute. Like, we're West Ham, and the best teams in the world historically have players, better versions of Flynn
Yeah,
Downs.
right.
Like they do.
I'm not talking about their ability, right? Because the ability is not comparable. Man United basically just signed Casemiro to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just to sit in front of the back four, sweep up the midfield, then make a simple pass to the attacking players. Mark Noble made an entire career pretty much out of it. And whether you liked Mark Noble's ability or not, he played under how many different managers?
Yeah.
And every single one of them picked him. Because of his ability to retain the ball. It doesn't matter if it's a 20-yard pass or a 5-yard pass.
No.
If you can't retain possession in what Moyes wants as a possession-based game now, because we're trying to build and evolve from just counter-attacking to be able to dominate teams, you need to be able to keep possession. And if you've got Souček or Lanzini or Benrahma or Fornals, whoever, if they're playing in the middle and they're not making a pass and then they're moving 5 yards into a different angle to give you an option to return it, the game just breaks down. Yeah. And that's what he was exceedingly good at, was just literally, whether it was a 20-yard forward pass or a 5-yard sideways pass. They always talk about in football, especially in the modern game, you pass in triangles. So if you've got one guy coming to mark you down, you triangle around him. But Downs would literally, he'd pass the ball off and he would go stand in the middle of that triangle of the defensive shape, to pick up the ball. He's now in between the lines and he can pass it off to someone else, allowing someone else to get into a different position, a more attacking position. It's extremely intelligent, simple and effective. But it's something we've just seriously lacked. Yeah. Probably maybe even from Noble, from when he, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, when his legs went. For me, he 100% should be starting just on that one game. I don't care what the opposition was. He earned the right to start a Premier League game in front of Souček to show that we have something different.
Yeah, absolutely. And he definitely shown it. And in actual fact, him and Rice sparked up a great relationship on the park. Yeah, I get it. People might question the opposition, etc. But you know what? This is the game now where Silkeborg, the second game, he's deserving a spot and he needs to maintain it, especially in the cup competition. So it would be really good to see him get a start. Now, we have got 7 players on the park. We need 4 more players. So let's start choosing our midfielders, Matt.
Where do you want
to start with? You tell me. Where do you want to start? Should we go? Let's go out right. Last week,
I've got 2 names.
Well,
and I'm open to your interpretation on what one.
So last week we started with Cornet out on the right. For me, I am massively impressed with what Cornet is doing for West Ham so far. He's not been given a fair crack at the whip. The question is whether or not he's going to be fit for the game, because I don't know if they classified what happened to him as a concussion substitution or not.
Only 6 days.
And that's only 6 days, but that doesn't necessarily mean he is 100% okay, though.
He was in training today,
right? So something to be mindful of as well.
Consider. Yeah.
And I also think that, again, in my analysis show, if you do watch it, that I spoke a lot about what he brings to West Ham when he's even off the ball, which is a progressive style. He connects the midfield to the forward. He is always on the front foot. He's always trying to make that diagonal run. And that's why he gets us into situations that we do. For example, Chelsea. He was in a dangerous position for the penalty incident that happened. He hit the post, and then obviously when Jared Bowen got taken out or whatever, he was on the back of that chance, skipped out to the right and scored the goal. Then secondly, he was in that position to get halved by the keeper against FCSB by making that diagonal run again. And he's so clever at it. And what I've witnessed so far from him, I really, really like him. I think he's going to be a big player for us in the Premier League. The thing is, though, do you play him in this game again if you've got the Everton game coming up?
I've got him in my starting lineup.
Right, but you've not got him in the right.
No.
Well, let's talk about it. So, who have you got out in the right then?
So my 2 names. All right, and again, I'm open for you to sway in either way because I'm entirely undecided. We need 3 points on this away game, right?
Yep.
And we've got 2 games in 4 days, and then we're off for 2 weeks. And a lot of the players will probably be off. I don't know how many of them have been called up. So we've either got Bowen, who I thought actually was a lot better when he came off the bench last Thursday, and that's probably the most likely option. That's probably who I think will start there. The other wacky, out of the way, just full guns blazing. This is the only way I could have Cornet playing on that side, right? Is if on one of the wings he starts Antonio.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because if you go back to the game last week, I know he was playing up front, but he did all that damage running down the wing.
Yeah, you're right, mate.
Leaving that second half, just drift out onto that left-hand side, and he was destroying the fullback, the centre-back.
Yeah. Driving
from wide into the box.
Yeah, he was.
And now we've got centre-forward. Just give him a go at it.
Well, I tell you what, for anyone that hasn't, because it makes me feel like Matt hasn't watched my analysis show, because I feel like Matt's repeating everything that I said on the analysis show. However, you're right, mate. I got his heat map as well from the game. I watched, I showed everyone on the screen physically where he played most of his football when it was out on the left-hand side. And you're right, mate. He tore him to shreds. He absolutely tore him to shreds. And it depends on the thinking of what Moyes is going to do. Is he going to do something again similar? We'll come on to the striker position in a minute. I like your thinking. I like it. I think it's something we may see at some point in the season. I do. I just don't know if we're going to see it yet, because I don't know if we necessarily need to see it yet. Is the point, I would say.
Yeah.
So on the basis of that, are we going to go with Jared Bowen out in the right then?
Yeah. You know what I said again? He's still not up there, but I think his levels between what we saw like the start of the season and where he's at now,
yeah,
he has slowly. It's almost like he's been playing like a delayed pre-season.
Yeah, it's a little bit like
working
that,
himself up, and he's now slowly getting to where you want to be.
Yeah,
and the penalty the other night gave him a lot of confidence afterwards as well.
It was a well taken penalty as well.
It was.
Really,
I
really nice.
was quite worried. I was like, I don't know who's taking it.
Yeah.
And then there was the whole drag. It felt really dragged out because obviously Cornet had to get assisted off the pitch, and I was thinking, he's been standing there for like 3, 4, God knows how many minutes, just holding his ball in his hand. It's like giving everything. It was a very well taken penalty. But we go Bowen. Right,
excellent. Right, let's move out to the other wing then. Remember, this is our 11, so we can do what we want, how we want.
Cornet.
Right, excellent.
100%. You know what? I don't go back to our thing, right? Go back in our WhatsApp group all the way back, probably about 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, and it was like 2 weeks left of this whole drama with Lingard, and I said in the chat to everyone, bin off Lingard and go buy Cornet. I was like, just go and do it. I was like, because he's younger, he's just go watch. I know you shouldn't judge a player on it, but go watch the compilations of Cornet on YouTube. Just go and do it. If you've got 5 minutes to spare, you want to enjoy yourself. The ability he's got, left foot, right foot, taking people on, scoring headers, volleys, one-on-ones, 25-yarders, free kicks, taking corners. He's worth far more than 17.5 million we paid for him. And how he hasn't started yet in the league baffles me, because there's no excuse not to start him. You cannot turn around and say he needs time to adjust for the league, because he spent all last year playing for Burnley and got 9 goals playing for a team that got relegated. Currently off the left.
I like this though. I like this because what I like about it is it gives us a threat down right side, threat down the left hand side, and Cornet and Emerson partnering up again, and offering us a big threat.
They're going to be. They should be the start. They should be the starting pair down left hand side.
Yeah.
And the more you play them together, the more in sync they're going to get.
Yeah.
And the more stuff becomes just natural to them.
Yep, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Right, let's get on to. We've got this is the current lineup we've got. So put your comments in. Let us know your thoughts. Obviously, you've got a chance to name your starting 11 for when that show does come out. But this is our starting 11. Matt and Anton's starting 11. Right, Matt, the man in the hole. We've got options here. Got plenty of options here. But last week, Lanzini.
There's only one. Had an absolute effing stinker.
Right.
He was awful. I sat there at half time and I was like, Moyes doesn't make half time changes. I thought, but he doesn't get Benrahma and Lanzini off the pitch at half time. The game's over. I think he's supposed to make a triple sub at half time.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't want to slag him off. I don't want to be disrespectful and nasty to him. Because you know what? I sat here at the exact same point last season saying he was done, bid him off,
And then
he's
he
not
came back
good,
and
doesn't work in our
fantastic.
team anymore. And then he came back and had a very good second half of the season.
Yeah.
But at the moment, he's done, his legs are gone, bid him off, he doesn't work in our team. No, I don't know. He just, I don't know what's wrong with him. I know he's not as quick as he used to be, but last season he adapted that to being where he would drop deeper and let the guys run past him and make the passes. Whereas, like, on Thursday night last week, like, he couldn't make a. To me, it looked like he couldn't make a pass. He couldn't find any space to get on the ball. He couldn't put his foot on the ball. He couldn't make a pass and he couldn't receive a pass. And I was like, well, you can't do either of them. You're playing like a man light.
Yeah.
And then you had Ben Rama on the wing that basically done the same thing on the wing. It was like he was playing with 9 men for 45 minutes. He played. Forget playing himself in the team. He played himself out of the team. And the man that came on for him showed you why he's worth what he's worth. And that's who my starting player is. Right.
Paqueta.
Yeah.
He is. I was talking to my dad. Like, it's funny having someone who's watched football for years, and when my dad was asking me about Scamacca, he was saying, what kind of player is he? And I was just giving the information that I knew, the scouting stuff that we'd looked at, looking at some of his highlights, seeing what he did for Lyon last year. And I just didn't realise how much he gets stuck in, mate. I just did not realise how much he gets and puts his foot in. He's everywhere. He's everywhere in the park. And I love him. I love that. I love that about him. And I'm thinking to myself, shit, man, that's why Moyes has brought him into the club. I really do.
Not just his ability going forward. It is that, yeah, he's like, you can see why the club backed him with the £50 million or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because he's like Moyes' prime. If Moyes could sit down and make his own number 10, he would have in all the attacking ability, the vision, the passing, the set pieces, and that. But he'd also have, but he's got to be able to get stuck in. He's got to be physical. He's got to make a tackle. He's got to be like a Duracell bunny that just runs all game. And it's like Moyes just like gave that as like a short list of characteristics to like Rob Newman and went, go find me a number 10.
Yeah.
And then we played Lyon in the cup last year, and he was like, there you go. There
he is, right there in front of you, mate.
Right, yeah. Don't need to find him. He's there.
Yeah. I mean, so far, mate, we're building this 11. We've got one more player to go, but that is looking like a tasty 11, and we're missing so many players. We haven't even discussed, we haven't even mentioned other players that have also had a good season. And I think it's, we've got this next spell, before we talk about the final player, this next spell for West Ham is really important because hopefully now it's going to give us, once this break happens, we need a bit of consistency in games. We need a solid amount of games. So it's not bad that October is busy. It's really quite good that October is busy because we're going to get time to bed these players in now and we're going to get that consistency. And for me, players that haven't started need to start and start regularly in the games to try and build that up and that consistency and momentum. But you're right, mate. I think Paqueta's offering us something that we've not had for many a year. And yeah, he's looking quality. So I like that. So finally, though, we have the number 9 or the forward or the man up top. Last week, it was Scamacca coming back from an illness. He played one half. And I've seen some people being a bit disrespectful.
You know what?
Well, do you know what? Though? I see people being disrespectful to him, right? But what I noticed in the game was, mate, he is phenomenal at finding the space. He is phenomenal. Now, no ifs or buts about it. If he was at 100% last week, he would have bagged 2 goals minimum.
Oh yeah,
because he found like
people
3
forget
positions.
That he literally didn't train for like a week.
Yeah,
he had that. Was it some sort of gum infection?
Yeah,
it was keeping him up all night. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't train. He trained for like 3 days and we just chucked him straight back in because he needs to get the fitness back up. And you know what? As I said to you earlier, I said at half time in the game last week, if he doesn't get Ben Rama, if he doesn't get Lanzini off, like, we're going to lose the game. I didn't at one point consider taking Scamacca off at half time. I thought he'd give him 15, 20 minutes and then he'd take him off. For me, right, and if we go back through the years and the centre forwards we've bought that have all been absolute dross. There's that list. Is it 50? Is Scamacca 50 or 51 now? Whatever number he is on the list. Difference is, even then, he's probably like half fit, still getting over this illness, barely trained. he was getting in positions to bring the ball forward, although he wasn't, he probably wasn't actually fit enough and he wasn't being strong enough to hold it off because he was probably still covering from illness. But he was finding the space for it. And B, he was finding the space to get chances. Now, when he's fit and going and he's all rare and he's got his confidence, he'll be bagging them goals. They'll end up in the back of the net. I'd be more worried if he wasn't getting the chances. If he wasn't finding the space in the box to get chances, that's when you're worried. Because you're like, well, you're centre forward, drop deep, go short, move about, just put some sort of movement in. You've got to be intelligent enough to know where to score goals. If you're not finding the space, so that's a bit like Antonio. Antonio's thing is to drift out wide and then maybe come inside. There was that I think the classic game, was it Burnley away last year? When we drew 0-0.
Yeah.
But if we'd had an actual centre forward on the pitch, we would have won by like 4 or 5 because the amount of balls that just went across the middle of the 6-yard box for a tap in and there was just no one there because Antonio was standing 15 yards out. Centre forwards have to be in there to get the chances. The goals will come if you're getting the chances, and he was getting chances. So the goals will come.
So on that, Scamacca in?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you.
He needs the fitness. He needs the fitness as well.
Yeah.
And even if that means, you know what, and I wouldn't lose it because I've seen now that Moyes knows that he has to he rotates the two of them to get the best out of him and Antonio.
But it's ridiculous because it works. It's like it's West Ham now getting every single inch of anything out what we've got left from Antonio, but we're actually seeing a rested Antonio. And he gives us the second half performance that he did last week. Doesn't matter the opposition. He gives us it. It's momentum.
So it would surprise me if Scamacca starts tonight. If Scamacca starts Thursday night, but Antonio starts on Sunday, because Moyes likes to rotate them to make sure they're both getting the playing time. Neither of them are overworked.
Yeah.
And I know at the start of the season we were all like, "Why is he starting Antonio? Why is Scamacca on the bench?" But you're right. We need to get the maximum out of both of them without
but the benefit
running them into the ground.
But the benefit to that is that I don't doubt for a second that if on Sunday Antonio does start, that I don't doubt for a second we will see Scamacca. And I actually do.
The last 20, 30 minutes.
But I actually do believe as the season goes on, Scamacca will be our starting forward with Antonio taking that transitional role at the end. I do believe it. I believe it like 1,000,000% I do, as long as they're all kind of stay injury free.
When he's up and going, and when he's got over his illness, and when he's 100% fit, and when he's roaring and going, Scamacca will start most games, and Antonio will come off the bench. Or if you really want to chuck it out, if you know you're going to play someone that's going to sit back and put 10 men behind the ball, you need to put Antonio out on the wing to start.
Yeah,
as a different option. But you rotate them around, so neither of them gets. Like Antonio played 50 games last year, and we could see in the last 2/3 of the season when we struggled to win games that after some games after 40 minutes, Antonio was knackered.
Yeah,
and we were just like, but there's no option. There was, and it was like he's going to still force him to play till the 70th minute.
Yeah, and
then he's going to bring on Yarmolenko, and we're going to play with a false number 9 for the last 20 minutes because we haven't got anything else.
Well, Matt, there's our starting 11, mate. There is our starting 11. Put your comments in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Matt and Anton. Manton's starting 11, Ariola in goal, Ashby out on the right, Kira in the middle of the park with Augie, Emerson out on the left. He's supported by Max Cornet. Flynn Downs maintains his position in the midfield alongside Declan Rice and Jared Bowen, giving us that attacking threat down the right-hand side. Lucas Paqueta right through the middle, covering every single bloody position on the park like he does, with Scamacca maintaining his starting spot for West Ham, giving himself an opportunity to bang some of those goals in. Leave your comments in and let us know your thoughts ahead of the game. Now, if you haven't already, there is loads of content coming your way. Matt's going to give you a stat attack that will be coming soon, so keep your eyes on that. Make sure you check out the Hammers headlines. We've got previews coming up, Holly's show's kicking about, and we've got a Q&A. We've got a really cool Q&A coming up over the next couple of days as well. We're the Next Pro. It's the only place to be, the West Ham Network. Matt, thanks for joining us again as per usual, and we will see you all very, very soon. Like I say always, though, if you are new around here, please make sure you do click that subscribe button, hit that bell notification as well when you do see that. That will notify you when our shows do go live. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can click the join option as well. And as we do like to do, we like to thank all the members for joining the channel. So stay safe, take it easy, and come on, you Irons.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate,